Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Kentucky University kicks off a program to help identify risk factors for dementia. And Kentucky reptile experts give some advice on how to stay safe from snakes as they become a bit more active.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. It's Monday, 4:59. I'm Dakota Makris. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And let's take it over to Brandon this morning. Brandon, some weather changes coming this week, and one big one just announced. What was it? A heat advisory for tomorrow, I believe?
Yeah, it's not going to be a fun week, but if you miss summer, I hope you get your fill of it this week because it's going to be hot all the way through, and it's going to be some of those temperatures that you want to stay inside for, or at least stay cool. Live pinpoint Doppler radar as we head out the door this morning. We're going to be seeing some pockets of scattered showers and storms, nothing severe. Most of those clustered in our northern counties this morning, but again, it's going to be a hot week, and it's already starting mild out there. It's muggy too. Dew points way up into the 70s in some locations. 70 temperature wise right now in Y, 73 Hazard, 75 Somerset and Jackson, also 73 Moorhead, Pikeville, 63 in Clintwood, 68 in Middlesboro, Jonesville and Jacksboro. Those are some of the coolest temperatures in the region, 67 in Harlan and Manchester. There's those dew points for you. 72 in Somerset, 74 Monticello, but basically close to 70 pretty much everywhere with the exception of Wise, and that's getting close to that instant sweat category. So be ready because today we could tie a record high at 91. Scattered chances for showers and storms early. Better, or not better chances, I guess the best chance would be early. Some chances as we go deeper into the day, but the heat, the big story all week long. I'll have more on that coming up here in just a little bit. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. University of Kentucky kicked off a new program aimed at identifying risk factors for dementia. The Sanders Brown Center brought its research and healthcare to a fair in Frankfort. The center partnered with the church there to give screenings that would help identify any issues and prevent memory loss. Dr. Elizabeth Rodas, UK Assistant Professor at Sanders Brown Center on Aging, said identifying risk factors like diabetes, obesity, and tobacco use early on is key.
We are getting closer and closer to these different studies who are getting, FDA approval to help with these diseases early on. What can we do today?
As a substantial portion of Kentucky's population gets older, Dr. Rodas wants to empower them to look out for their health and know the risk factors of memory loss. A food pantry in Lexington is promoting pride, not just this Pride Month, but year-round. The People's Market is run through the Lexington Pride Center. Now, it's a free weekly resource for the LGBTQ+ community and their families. The Purple Painted Pantry opened in 2020 and is a rescue program. The organization works with God's Pantry Food Bank to take foods that would otherwise be thrown away.
A lot of the feedback I get is just like having someone there who knows that we care about them. It makes a big difference in their lives.
Well, if you'd like to help the People's Market, you can donate directly to the Pride Center. The center also accepts food donations at the door. Kentuckians are still picking up the pieces 6 months after tornadoes ripped through various parts of the Commonwealth. Cabrera's restaurant being one of them. The business lost everything during the storm. Since then, it's been operating from a food truck right at the same spot where the tornadoes left their restaurant in pieces. Miguel Lomeli remembers the intense emotions displayed on his family's faces when they saw the restaurant in pieces. He also says he remembers vividly what his children felt during the aftermath of the tornado.
The most difficult part was seeing my kids' faces. Since we all worked there, my kids were upset. Some were crying, asking me, "Dad, what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna work?"
Well, 6 months later, he is leaving the past behind him and says Cabrera's restaurant will once again remain open in the same spot. Well, this summer, cities around the country are facing a critical shortage of lifeguards. The once coveted summer job is suddenly out of style. The American Lifeguard Association warns a third to nearly half of the nation's 300,000 public pools are expected to be impacted, prompting closures, delayed openings, and reduced hours. Jimmy Davis is the director of aquatics for Palm Beach County, Florida. They're short about 30% of summer employees.
To be able to conduct as many swim lessons as we normally do, and that has a direct impact on the community, and it could potentially affect the number of drownings that we see in our community.
Well, what's driving the shortage? Well, things changed during the pandemic. Lifeguards have to go through certification classes, and pay is a big factor. It can range from $10 to $15 an hour in many places. So in a tight job market, there are better paying, more flexible options. With summer just around the corner, more wildlife will be out and about near your home or property. Well, to avoid the risk of snakes making your home or property their own this summer, those with the Kentucky Reptile Zoo say it is important to keep your yard and property clean. The more objects that are outside, the more options snakes have to hide.
But also, if you have a bunch of stuff sitting around or even lots of garbage, that will attract rodents. Rodents attract snakes, and so you end up with more snakes. So keeping your area clear reduces the chances of snakes wanting to live there.
Well, those with the Reptile Zoo add that if you want to scare snakes away, spraying them with a water hose is a good solution since it is usually effective and you can do it from a far distance. Well, and while snakes are still in your mind, the Kentucky Reptile Zoo is doing more than just teaching people about these creatures. They're using their resources to impact those in need. The Reptile Zoo is a global hotspot for snake venom. The zoo will extract their rattlesnake venom to ship to pharmaceutical companies and researchers to create medicine and, of course, life-saving anti-venom to treat those who have been bitten. And even though it might look painful, the zookeepers say this process does not harm the snake.
It's kind of fun to be like a little thing in Kentucky that can do so much in this way. It also helps us with our messaging locally. We can talk about what we do on a bigger scale, providing venoms for people, and that can help people here who are on-site visiting kind of see the snakes in a new way.
Zookeepers say they will extract venom from 600 to 1,000 snakes each week, with venom being shipped to France, Brazil, and to different locations across the United States. Well, thank you so much for getting your Monday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we come back, one of NASA's latest launches ends in failure. We'll have the reason why in just a few minutes.
Are you ready to break some heat records? We may get close today and break them on later this week. I'll have your steamy forecast in about 3 minutes.